Welcome, everybody, and we have got to talk about everyone's favorite actor who takes his acting so seriously, he takes it to the streets, and that is Jussie Smollett. So, his conviction in his hate crime hoax has been overturned by the Illinois Supreme Court. Let's just play this kind of short little clip just to do a quick recap. So, the Illinois Supreme Court overturns Jussie Smollett's convictions. The Empire actor was alleged to have falsely reported a hate crime. It's not alleged. He justice. What are you? What is this clown doing? What does he need justice for? Oh goodness! Smollett has insisted the hate crime was real. So that's the issue here. That's narcissism at its finest. So it's thrown out because of the double jeopardy law. So just to kind of go through, I'm not going to read the whole article, but the Illinois Supreme Court has overturned actor Jussie Smollett's conviction for staging a fake hate crime against himself. In a decision issued Thursday, the court said the Empire actor, 42, should not have been charged for the same incident, a second time after the original charges brought against him were dropped in 2019. Smollett was alleged to have falsely reported to the police that he was a victim of a hate crime. He was found guilty in 2021 on 5 counts of disorderly conduct. Because the initial charges were dismissed as part of an agreement with Smollett, and he performed his part of the agreement, the second prosecution was barred, the ruling said. And so essentially he just, agreed to, it'll go a little bit further. We'll talk a little bit about. We are aware that this case has generated significant public interest and that many people were dissatisfied with the resolution of the original case and believed it to have been unjust or be unjust. Nevertheless, what would be more unjust than the resolution of any one criminal case would be a holding of this court that the state was not bound to honor agreements upon which people have detrimentally relied. So essentially they're bringing up the double jeopardy, right? Because he had already kind of, essentially you're kind of pleading guilty, but it's called an agreement because it is recognizing the charges, but it's kind of it's silly basically how you could get out so easy. But anyway, Smollett claimed in January 2019 that he was attacked in Chicago by 2 men who yelled racist homophobic slurs at him, tied a rope around his neck, and said, "This is MAGA country," a reference to then President Donald Trump's "Make America Great Again" slogan. Now, what's actually funny about this is that so we would then come to find that, Jussie Smollett hired these 2 brothers who happen to be brothers. You get what I'm saying? And the pictures that actually showed of these 2, they're actually 2 big dudes, big black dudes, and they just like, he hired them to beat him up, and then he essentially fabricated this just drawn out ridiculous story that somehow, some way, in the heart of Chicago, you had these rednecks kind of pull up in a truck and then just like, "This is MAGA country," and it's just the most ridiculous thing that, even in the beginning, people were just like, "Wait, really?" And, and they were just constantly kind of asking him. And then surely enough, it just ended up being, just one big fiasco. And essentially he just wanted, I mean, I don't know, he has some sort of mental disorders. Smollett was later charged after police alleged he staged the attack on himself with the help of 2 brothers he hired. But the charges were dropped weeks later. At the time, Cook County State Attorney Kimberly Fox's office said that the actor agreed to forfeit his $10,000 bond to the city of Chicago and performed community service. So essentially, that's essentially was his agreement. $10,000 and then some goofy, community service. Even though he wasted a boatload of police resources and having them kind of chase these 2 individuals who allegedly, beat him up for being, gay and black, and it was just ridiculous. The decision to drop the charges against Smollett sparked criticism, with then outgoing Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel saying at the time, "This is a whitewash of justice." Yeah, it certainly was, but in more ways than what he's thinking about. A special prosecutor was named to examine the circumstances surrounding the dismissal of the charges. So I understand, and then just to kind of give context there, I do understand why the charges are dropped, because of the whole double jeopardy, right? So when you get convicted of something, you can't try someone again. The thing about it is, they should have originally not gave him such a sweetheart deal. I I'm really against, because I tend to think that when people get off so easy, with just like a slap on the wrist when they do things like this, especially when you're, ginning up excitement, just, to be the main character, right? I mean, obviously, he just has some sort of main character syndrome, when essentially he's just an NPC at this point. But yeah, he saw an opportunity to be entitled, make it all about himself, and he did. And I think those types of actions deserve heavier consequences because they do not provide any justice for, you know, disenfranchised individuals. In fact, it makes things that much more worse. It's like the boy who cries wolf. And so it just makes people then untrustworthy of the system. And, there are two-tiered systems. It's not like, justice is blind, because it's blind sometimes and at other times it's going to throw the book at you. But overall, this is just one of those setbacks. But I'm curious to what everyone else thinks. Obviously, it's kind of generating up a lot of conversation. Tell me what you think, like, and subscribe.